بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So inshallah now we're moving on to وجوه البيان. Well, continuing with وجوه البيان, and we're moving on to بيان التغيير. بيان التغيير means to change something. غير يغير تغييرا, to change. أما بيان التغيير, as for بيان التغيير, بيان التغيير means what? هو أن يتغير ببيانه معنى كلامه. When the bayan, when the murad, when the what? When the bayan taghyir is basically when the bayan changes the original mubayyan. So the first statement you made, which you're doing bayan of, your bayan changes this. Yes? وَنَذِيرُهُ التَّعْلِيقِ. What does ta'liq mean? A shart. Yes? And another example is istisna. So let's say, for example, if I said to you, he said, Anta hurrun. He said to his slave, Anta hurrun. You are free. If he says, you are free, what does this do now? What is this Sadr Kalam necessitate? Emancipation. Then he said after that, in Hafiz al-Quran, for example. In Hafiz al-Quran. Yes? Now what is this to? It's taghyir, because this means that he's free. Immediately. This says what? He's not free immediately. So it changes. So it's not, it's yasihu mawsun, not mafsudan. Yes? Similarly, istisna. Alayya laka alayya alfun. What does it necessitate? The 1,000 is compulsory. I owe you £1,000. I said, illa tis'amiyah. Now this necessitates how much? 1,000, that necessitates 100. This is changing the ruling. Bayanu taghyir. So this is called bayanu taghyir, and it's only yasihu mawsulan la mafsulan. Acha. Now in ta'liq, it's gone out another masala to make it more complicated. In ta'liq, in what? In ta'liq and in istisna, again he only mentions the Imam Abu Hanif, Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi here. He says that Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi and ashab al-ikhlaf regarding this. قال أصحابنا المؤلق بالشرط. Anything which is mu'allaq with a shart, anything which is confined to a what? A shart. سبب عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. That thing comes about at the time of the shart, not before it. وقال الشافعي رحمة الله عليه, and Imam Shafi رحمة الله عليه on the contrary, he says التعليق سبب في الحال, is sabab immediately. However, adamu shart, the shart not being found, stops the hukam from coming into existence. That's the translation. Let me explain to you. If a person says to his mankuha, meaning his wife, who he's married to, he says, Anti taliqun. Now, Anti taliqun is a sabab. There's no mani for talaq taking place on her. So therefore, the talaq will take place. Yes, is that clear? Achha. This is ajnabiyya. And he says, so let's say, I don't know, he's really angry. Let's say, I don't know, he's in the fits of anger in the car park. And the woman is giving a car park. He got angry. He says, Anti taliqun. It's ajnabiyya. And he got angry. I divorce you. It's not your wife. Yes, he just says that. Now the talaq, there's two ways of looking at this. One is, the talaq goes on to her, but it's a mani. Or one talaq is even, forget these two. You say, well, she's not mahal. She's not mahal, so this talaq is null and void. Correct? Achha. If he says manquha, anti taliqun in dakhalti ad-dar. What's he done now? He's put what there? He's put a condition, a shart. It's called ta'liq. But in here there's a mani. What's the mani of it occurring? Now, if you say in dakhalti ad-dar, she's mahal for talaq. So the talaq will come about her. But what will happen? It's going to stop. It's going to be pending. Are you following? And the last example is ajnabiyya. He's not married to her.
You say pending or you say only in a public say?
Yeah, it's pending on the khalti dar. So the talaq is like waiting. It's suspended. It's mu'allaq. Okay. Now in the last example, in the ajnabiyya example, what do we have? He's anti taliqun tazawwajtuki. Are you following? Now when does this anti-taliq come upon her? When does the anti-taliq come upon her? One opinion is that the anti-taliq comes upon her there and then. Okay, one opinion is that it comes upon her when the shart is found. Like in the khalti dar, when does anti-taliq come about? So when in the khalti dar happens, what will happen? It's suspended. So in the khalti dar, talaq comes. So one opinion is in tazawwajtuki, the anti-taliq will come about when the anti-taliq, when is it counted? When does it come about? When the shart is found. So when in tazawwajtuki, when he marries her, then the word anti-taliq comes upon her. So when he marries, what's going to happen? So same, he's in a car park, he got angry. He said, if I ever marry you, what's going to happen? I'll give you talaq. And he took a phone number from the insurance company. And then what happened? They got married afterwards. What will happen now? Huh? A romance story, huh? Talaq will happen. Yes? So we're saying, in tazawwajtuki, if I marry you, that's only when that happens, then the anti-taliq comes about. Yes? So we say the talaq is going to come about when she marries her. The other opinion is, it takes place there and then. Is she mahal then? No, it just flies by. So forget this one now. Yes? You can say here as well. Take this one out. So anti-taliq, is she mahal? In this example, is she a mahal? Talaq flies by her, gush, gone. Useless, laghwa. So one opinion, Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says, Imam Shafi says, that there and then is anti-taliqun, is she mahal? Forget the shart, is she mahal of talaq, of your talaq? No, it flies by her, gone, null void. But we say is the talaq is mudafan ila sabab. So therefore, in tazawwajtuki, the talaq anti-taliqun will apply when the anti-taliqun takes place. Sorry, the anti-taliqun will come about when tazawwajtuki. So according to this, Imam Shafi rahmatullah says if he gets married to her afterwards, is talaq going to happen? No. And we say talaq will happen. وَفَائِدَةُ الْخِلَافِ. That whole, let's go back to the previous text and understand the previous text now. So what does Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi say? أصحابنا المؤلق بالشرط سبب عند وجود الشرط لا قبله. So المؤلق بالشرط, the talaq. The talaq is a sabab, meaning talaq words come about when the shart is found, not before it. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says the ta'liq, meaning in the khalti dar, is sababun fil hal. The talaq mu'allaqa, anti taliqun in the khalti dar. That talaq al mu'allaqa is sabab immediately. Fahimt? But the shart, adamu shart, the shart is not found. So it's not mahal, so therefore it becomes null and void. So based on that now, what's the thamara going to be? The thamara is this. إذا قال أجنبية إن تزوجتك, if I marry you فأنت طالق. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah and our ashab say that the sabab is in the wujud shart. So when in tazawwajtuki is found, anti taliqun will apply. So therefore when he marries her, talaq will take place. Or if he says to a servant, he says somebody else, if I ever own you, you're free. He says another servant, if I ever purchase you, you're free. Yes? What happens now? Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says, Anta hur. Is he mahal for anta hur right now? No. The shart is and in malaktuk, he said, the anta hur sayga only comes about into wujud when he owns him. So therefore we will say in this situation, yes, يقول تعليق باطل عنده. According to him, this ta'liq, the whole talaq mu'allaq, the it mu'allaq is all batil. Because there's no mahal. He's not your slave, she's not your wife, you can't divorce her, you can't free him. Why? لأن التعليق, the talaq mu'allaq, the ta'liq, the talaq mu'allaq, the it mu'allaq, is basically being what? In iqadu sradr al-kalam illatan. It means that the anti-taliqun applies. Ta'liq means that the anti-taliqun takes place there and then. This text is a bit confusing. Nobody's explained it properly. So I need to translate what I understood and let's see what it says. So the hukm ta'liq, when you have the hukm is mu'allaq. Yes? The hukm is mu'allaq. In iqadu, this is the khabar. So ta'liq means that the sadrul kalam, anti taliqun, anta hurrun, they occur as the illa for the itq or the talaq. Yes? And illa. What's the illa? Huh? To occur. So the ta'liq means, the ta'liq causes the occurrence. So ta'liq causes the occurrence of the sadrul kalam as a cause for talaq and itaq. Yes? So the talaq mu'allaq, the ta'liq, it causes the sadrul kalam, meaning the first part of the kalam, anti-taliqun, the main part of the kalam, not the shart, the jawabu shart basically. The sadrul kalam is the jawabu shart. So the jawab al-shart occurs as a cause for the talaq and the itaq. But talaq and itaq lam yanaqid illatan. It can't be. We can't have those. Why? لعدم إضافة إلى المحل. He's attributing أنت طالق. So this is a board. No, you can't do talaq. أنت حر, not a slave. So he's got ajnabiyya or somebody else's slave. You can't free that person. You can't divorce that woman. She's not yours. She's not your wife. She's not a property. Fine. So because of this, is لعدم إضافة المحل. He's done the talaq towards somebody who's not possible to do talaq of. So therefore he says إضافته إلى المحل. فبطل حكم التعليق فلا يصح التعليق. The whole تعليق is going to be null and void. فهمت؟ وإننا كان التعليق صحيحا. According to us, the تعليق is going to be صحيح. Yes. Therefore, حتى لو تزوجها يقع التعليق. Now, if he marries her later on, what's going to happen? تعليق will occur. لأن كلامه إنما ينعقد إلا عند وجود الشرط. The أنت طالق comes about. When does the wujud come about? It's suspended until the shart. So when the illa occurs, meaning wujud al-shart, when the wujud al-shart occurs, then the أنت طالق will come about. والملك ثابت عند وجود الشرط. And the ملك البضعة, ملك الرقبة, they occur when إن تزوجتك إن ملكتك فيصير تعليق. You following? Yes? So again, summary is, Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says that wording, that the sadul kalam, أنت حر, أنت طالق, that occurs immediately. So therefore, is it mahal or غير mahal? It's غير mahal. It can null and void. And we say it becomes munaqid, that words come about only when the shart is found. When the shart is found, then in that situation, the words talaq and the words itaq will come into place. And at that time, she's a wife and he's a slave. So therefore, they become free and they become mutallaqa. Do you understand? Okay, let's stop here, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So continuing from our Bayan al-Tagheer, we are saying here that وَلِهَذَا الْمَعْنَى, because of this, just make sure the things on the top and on the front. وَلِهَذَا الْمَعْنَى قُلْنَا, because of this we say that شرط صحة التعليق للوقوع في صورة عدم الملك as a mubtada. Yes, is the mubtada. This is the khabar. Is أن يكون مضافا إلى الملك وإلى سبب الملك. If you want to do ta'liq of talaq or ta'liq of ataq, of talaq or emancipation, when you in what's not having the milk, either milkul bud'a or milkul raqaba. So if in these situations, if you wish to do ta'liq, you have to have it attributed, linked, connected. I think attributed best translated, attributed to the milk. أو إلى سبب الملك. For example, to a woman, إن نكحتك, إن ملكتك, to a slave. So you have to do ta'liq on a milk, ta'liq to the milk. If I marry you, if I come to own you, then in that situation what will happen? Then you will have the ta'liq sahih. Because if they're not in your milk, it's not going to correct. And I get an example. حتى لو قال لأجنبية, a person, he says to a woman who is not married to, إن دخلت الدار فأنت طالق. إن دخلت الدار فأنت طالق. So what do we say here now? That in this situation, ثم تزوجها. Then what happens? He marries her. ووجد الشرط, and then she entered the house. لا يقع طلاق. Yes? You say why? Because when you don't have the milk raqaba or milk al-bud'a, you can only, the nisbah to do ta'liq of talaq or ta'liq of ataq is only correct when you do nisbah to milk. So in dakhalti dar is different to in malaktuki, in tazawwajtuki. Do you understand? So in this situation what will happen? The talaq and the ataq will not take place. Are you following? Yes? I was linked to the previous lesson. Another hukam. Now what we're saying here is another masala. وَكَذَلِكَ طَوْلُ الْحُرَّةِ يمنع جواز نكاح الأمة عنده. طول, ability. طالب means طول and length. So if it means long, strength, you have ability, you have range, you have. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ مِنْكُمْ طَوْلًا أَنْ يَنْكِحَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ. Yes? So if you're not able to marry the muhsanat from the free women, then فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, then you can marry slave girls. Correct? So Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, his approach, his philosophy is that when you have a shart, the shart is not found, then you can't have that. Are you following? Now, to understand this very simply, let me explain a rule that is doing logic. We call it denying antecedent. This is in the book, logic, but we done it in our logic course. That when you say, if something, then something. Like for example here, if it rains, the ground will be wet. Correct? It did not rain, therefore the ground is not wet. So denying the antecedent does not necessarily give a right result. Why? Because why? What if you wash the car and water spilled there? Or there's a pipe leak? There could be other asbab as well. You following? So when you have a shart, when you have what? When you have a shart, if the ground is not wet, therefore it did not rain. Yes, you can say well, because this, you can deny the consequence, and then you could get the result, but you can't do this. Just because the shart is not found, it doesn't mean the jawab is not found. Why? There could be another a sabab. Are you following? So if I say, for example, if somebody is upstairs, there will be noise. Yes? So somebody's not upstairs, I mean there's no noise. There could be a rat upstairs. There could be a squirrel upstairs. There could be wind blowing. There could be another sabab for the noise. Are you following? Now based on that concept, I don't know why this text not coming up properly. You get yourself the fonts in here. Allah said in the Quran, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِئْ مِنْكُمْ طَوْلًا أَنْ يَنْكِحَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ مِنْ فَتَيَاتِكُمُ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. If you are unable to marry whom? The muhsanat al-mu'minat, mean the hara'ir, the free. Then you marry who? Then you're allowed to marry the slave girls. So now what we're going to say in here, we're going to say that Imam Shafi rahmatullahi say, well, therefore, if you have told, the فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ nikahul what? Marrying the nikahul ima. When is nikahul ima permissible? Nikahul ima is permissible when you do not have tawl. Therefore, if you have tawl, what happens then? Funny. So they say, وَكَذَلِكَ, according to Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, tawl al-hurra, being able to marry a free woman, it stops or prevents the permissibility of marrying a slave. Why? لأن الكتاب علّك نكاح الأمة بأدم الطول. Because in the Kitab Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has conditioned the permissibility of marrying a slave girl in the scenario or situation of not being able to marry when you not have the ability to marry a free woman. Because the free woman have to have expenditures, etc. So it's more. If you can't do that, financially you don't have the capacity to maintain her. Then in the slave girl, who has to maintain her? The master. So therefore it's a bit easier. So say, well, if you can't afford it, then do it here. So therefore, فَإِنَّ وُجُودِ الطَّوْلِ, when you have ability, the shart is ma'doom. So therefore, the jawab is going to be ma'doom. وَأَدَمُ الشَّرْط, when the shart is not found, what will you do? You will stop the hukam. So no, if you have tawl, then you can't do nikah. So therefore, la yajuzu nikah. Do you understand? So therefore, according to Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, if a person has the ability to marry a free woman, is not permitted to marry a slave girl. Yes, but in Indana, we say, well, that's not necessarily the case. There can be another shart for this. وكذلك قال الشافعي رحمة الله عليه لا نفقة للمبتوتة إلا إذا كانت حاملا. That similarly, if a mabtuta, who's a mabtuta? A woman who has been given talaq al-batta, meaning 3 talaq, she's out of the nikah. She will not get nafaqah unless she's what? Hamil, she's pregnant. Yes, a woman when she's divorced is entitled to her expenditure. Yes, for the 3 waiting periods. Now, in these 3 waiting periods, she will get, or until the child is born. So Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says, if it's talaq mughallada, the talaq is al-batta, what happens then? That she will get nafaqah only if she's hamila. If she's not hamil, then she will not get nafaqah. Why? لأن الكتاب علق الإنفاق بالحمل. Allah says, وَإِن كُنَّ أُولَاتِ حَمْلٍ فَأَنْفِقُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ حَتَّى يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. If they are pregnant, if they have children, meaning in the wombs, in this situation, then you spend upon them, then you have to give nafaqah. Therefore, if the shart is not found, what's going to happen? Yeah. We say the shart will necessitate the jawab, but adamu shart will not necessitate adamu jawaz. Adamu al-jawab. Why? There may be another condition. For in the adam al-hamli, when she's not pregnant, she will not have what? Entitled to her nafaqah. Wa adamu shart mani'un min al-hukmi indahu. According to us, وَإِنْدَنَا لَمَّا لَمْ يَكُنْ أَدَمُ الشَّرْطِ مَانِعًا مِنَ الْحُكْمِ. The shart not being found does not necessarily mean the hukm is not found. Yes? جَازَ أَنْ يَثْبُتَ الْحُكْمَ بِدَلِيلِهِ. It is possible that the hukm be established via another dalil. As I mentioned before. If you say the ground is, if it did not rain, we're not going to say the ground can't be wet. بدليله. What's the other dalil? Wash the car, burst pipe, throw empty bucket of water outside. There can be another dalil for this. Are you following? فيجوز نكاح الأمة ويجب الإنفاق بالعمومات. So we say, well, the nikah of the amma is permissible because of other dalail. The infaq meaning nafaqah, meaning nafaqatul mabtuta. The woman has been given talaka batta because of the arm ayat. We said those arm ayat encompass her, include her in having the right to expenditure nafaqah. Do you understand? Make sense? Another hukam. And it goes on, there's a few others like this. Okay, this is called what we call mafhumul mukhalif. What's this called? Mafhum mukhalif or shart. Yes? Mafhumul shart. Mafhum means it's not mentioned in the text, but it's an opposite meaning. So in mafhumul shart means if the shart is found, jawab is going to be found. Everybody agrees on that. If the shart is not found, there's no jawab. That's Imam Shafi. He says mafhumul shart. We don't say mafhumul shart. Sifa, same thing. If you have a sifa, is it muta'alliq that sifa or not? What do we say? فإنه the mawsuf sifa بمنزلة تعليق الحكم بذلك الوصف عنده. According to Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, having a sifa, this is just like doing ta'liq of the wasf. For example, if I say to you, ishrab ma'an baridan, that's basically saying ishrabil ma'in kana baridan. You following? Yes? So for example here, this barid is a sifa. So we say, well, the contrary, well, if the water is not cold, you can't drink it. Because the ijaz, let's say for example, this ishrab is for ibaha. So the ibaha is mu'allaq with what? The sifa. You following? Nji. وعلى هذا قال الشافعي رحمة الله, based on this sifa, Imam Shafi رحمة الله says لا يجوز نكاح الأمة الكتابية. If you have a kitabiyya ama, a kitabiyya slave girl, you can't marry her. Why? What does the Quran say? فَمِنْ فَتَيَاتِكُمُ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Are you following? Same ayah. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ مِنْكُمْ طَوْلًا أَنْ يَنْكِحَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ مِنْ فَتَيَاتِكُمْ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. So that mu'minat shart means that if she's not mu'minah, she's not a believer, she's a kitabiyya, she's a Christian or a Jew, you can't marry her. According to us, you can. Because there are other dalail. Why? لأن النص رتب الحكم على عمة مؤمنة من فتياتهم المؤمنات. If you do not have طول الحرة, then what do? You can marry. So basically, you can only marry a slave girl when she's what? When you don't have the ability to marry a free girl, a free woman. And that woman has to be also a mu'minah. We say no, it's permissible. فيتقيد بالمؤمنة فيمتنع الحكم عند عدم الوصف. So therefore, if the wasf of mu'minah is not found, nikah is not permissible. فلا يجوز نكاح الأمة بالكتابية. So far so good. That's basically now تغيير. So بيان التغيير has two types of تغيير. One تغيير is via تعليق الشرط, and the other تغيير is via استثناء. Because when you put a shart, what happens with how is the تغيير? If the shart comes at the end of a sentence, what are you doing? You change the hukam. You following? For example, أنت طالق إن دخلت الدار. So from talaq تنجيز becomes talaq معلق. Similarly, استثناء علي ألف إلا مئة. You change the hukam. So shart and استثناء shart and استثناء, what did they do? They changed the hukam. That's why we call it بيان التغيير. So the second type of تغيير is استثناء. So ذهب أصحابنا إلى أن الاستثناء تكلم بالباقي بعد الثنية كأنه لم يتكلم إلا ما بقي. Now there's a long discussion and an argument regarding this in Nur Anwar, etc. There's quite a long discussion regarding this. But we go through it simply in here. Our ashab, Hanafiya, they say when you do istisna means takallumun bil baqi. Ba'da thunya means istisna. So after making the istisna, it's as if you only spoke, or your utterance is only of what occurred then. كأنه لم يتكلم إلا بما بقي. It is as though, what is it? It is as though لم يتكلم إلا بما بقي. He did not speak except regarding that what remained. He only spoke regarding that which remained. وعنده, according to Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayh, صدر الكلام, the beginning part of the kalam, ينعقد إلة لوجوب الكل. It's supposed to be alif lam here. لوجوب الكل. Yes. إلا, how do I explain? Let me explain this here. So we have here, علي. This next text explains it. Come back again. When we say علي ألف إلا مئة, Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, his philosophy is علي ألف. What is this? This is صدر الكلام. Correct? Now the صدر الكلام necessitates, causes, brings about, it should bring about what? How much upon him? Alf. Are you following? However, this other part, ma ba'da thunya, what does it do? It kind of stops the remaining 100. So only how much becomes compulsory? 900. So according to both of us, if you say, alayya alfun illa mi'ah, how much becomes compulsory? How much becomes compulsory? 900. What's the tariq? Again, the fire is not going to become clear in this book. There's one example in this book, but it's not a very clear example. There's other examples in Nur Arwa, etc. So Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says, the Sadrul Kalam is an illa for how much to become compulsory? 1,000, no, 1,000. Then the illa does what? It brings about a change, it stops. And according to us, the whole Kalam is as if you only said 900 in the first place. So Imam Shafi said, no, he said 1,000, but then 100 was stopped from coming into place. And according to us, he said 900 only. If you go back. So in the according to Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, the Sadrul Kalam yan'aqilu illatan. What did it occur as? It occurred as what? An illa for making the full 1,000 compulsory. Illa anna al-istisna. However, the istisna yamna'uha min al-amal. The istisna does what? It stops it from doing amal. Bimanzilati adam al-shart. Just like adam al-shart in Bab al-Ta'liq. Yes? Is that what you say in your book? Bimanzilati adam al-shart. Yeah. So it's the basic thing. Like the same way you have ta'liq, that's ta'liq stops it. Now it makes no difference in this masala. But the other masala which has a difference. There's one example here, but that doesn't really, I don't even know if I remember the explanation of that example. You follow? Acha. ومثال هذا في قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I'm going to say it right now so that, to be honest, this example, I wasn't feeling well last 3 days. I watched on the weekend, today's Thursday, so I watched on the weekend. I studied on the weekend. I didn't understand it myself from the books properly. I listened to Maulana Ruhani Bazi's explanation. I understood the explanation, but I still don't fully get how it fits on this principle. It's not mentioned in Nur Anwar, example. It's not mentioned in Surah Sarakhsi. It's not mentioned in Mawlana Ubaid al-Asadi's Al-Mujaz. I don't think Husami has the Bayan. I couldn't find a Bayan Tagheer in Husami. So it doesn't seem to be the example that is commonly used amongst many of the Usooliyun. So I didn't look at other books, but it's not mentioned in a lot of these. We'll go through it. I don't even know if I remember the explanation because it didn't sit with me 100%. I'm just saying openly, so if you don't understand it, then it's one of those confusing ones. Yes? I like him to say something. Sometimes he says it so that students know that, okay, the teachers are also looking into it, and it's like, if you don't understand, hopefully, I'm struggling as well. But let's see if we can go through it. I can explain to you translation, but I haven't. This is one is that you understand it, you can just say, okay, put this away, I'll explain to you in my own words. I can't do that. That means I don't understand it properly. I can translate it and see how it works. So let's be honest with you, so that everybody understands where this is a difficult masla, and it's not in the other books. So he said, لا تبيع الطعام. Imam Usool al-Shashi, he's saying here, لا تبيع الطعام بالطعام. Do not sell food with food. Yes, meaning it's a must of riba. إلا سواء, this is spelled wrong again, سواء بسواء. However, you can only sell it when it's what? Equal. So according to us, it's what? تكلم بالباقي. And Imam Shafi rahmatullah is saying what? It's what? It's basically, this is munaqid. So basically all ta'am is going to be haram, except this one. Okay? Right? So far you got it? So basically, according to us is, you can sell food which is sawa'an bi sawa'. Okay, now. Imam Shafi says what? صدر الكلام إن أقد إلة لحرمة بيع الطعام بالطعام على الإطلاق. You following? So it's really لا تبيع الطعام بالطعام. When you have the masla of riba, you cannot sell food in exchange of food. Right? So that's what I mean. In all circumstances, you're not allowed to sell food in exchange for food. إلا unless they're equal. Are you following? وخرج, however, عن هذه الجملة, from this total, this itlaq, this mutlaq, that in all circumstances, you're not allowed to sell food in exchange for food. What's mustasna? Suda musawa is mustasna. Why? Because of the illah. So the sadrul kalam prohibits all tabayut ta'am bi ta'am, and the illah sawa'an bi sawa'in allows the last part. For baqiyya al-baqi, so therefore only one surah is mustasna. Because why? That's a mustasna from the thing. So the remainder, bayut ta'am bi ta'am, if it's not sawa'an bi sawa'in, you got higher, low amounts. What happens then? It remains under the ruling of the sadr, which is what? La tabi'u ta'am bi ta'am. So far, are you with me? You got the translation? Acha. According to us, وَتَنْتِيجَةُ هَذَا, therefore, according to Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, بَيْءُ الْحَفْنَ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ بِحَفْنَتَيْنِ مِنْهُ. To sell one, what you call a handful, to sell one handful of food in exchange for two handfuls of food, what's it going to be? Impermissible. Are you following? Because it's not sawa' bi sawa'. Acha. وَإِنَّنَا, according to us, بَيْءُ الْحَفْنَ لَا يَدْخُلُ تَحْتَ النَّص. It's not even in the nas. Why? It's تَكَلُّمُ بِالْبَاقِي. So basically, the Prophet ﷺ, as if the Prophet said, sell food equally. The Prophet is saying all types of selling food as a thaman and food as a mabi is haram, except this one. We're saying it's تَكَلُّمُ بِالْبَاقِي. What's ma baqiya? As said the Prophet ﷺ, in the previous example, Imam Shafi said, alayya alfun, I have 1,000 except 100. Yes? So according to us, he said, alayya 900. Alayya tis'abiyah. Okay, Imam Shafi is 1,000 supposed to be compulsory, but what's happened? In aqada sadrul kalami illatan illa annahu waqa mani. So similarly here we say, so he's saying, the sadrul kalam, la tabi'u ta'am illa bi ta'am, is what? Makes all types of bayu ta'am bi ta'am impermissible, except one surah. We say, what's ma baqiya? Ma baqiya is what? Bi'u ta'am sawa'an. So bayu hafna is not even included. Why? Because لأن المراد بالمنهي. Now remember the masala we mentioned before about النهي عن أفعال الشرعية. When we discussed that to do nahi of something you can't do is what? What is this? It's ids. That's a laghwa. Everyone said don't eat cement, don't fly in the sky. That's Prophet ﷺ, let's say for example, or the fuqaha have said that it's impermissible to fly in the sky at Zuhr time. It's like we can't fly in the sky anyways. Why say fly? That's laghwa, isn't it? So if you can't do something, why say it's manhi anhu? Are you following? Yes? لأن المراد بالمنهي. So when the Prophet ﷺ said لا تبيع الطعام بالطعام إلا سواء بسواء, this will muqayyad, it will only be confined to a surah بصورة بيع. That type of بيع يتمكن العبد من إثبات التساوي والتفاضل فيه. That means that you are only allowed to do a بيع. You're only allowed to do a بيع in where it's possible, meaning this nahi is only when there's a possibility of doing tasawi and tafadul. If you can't do tasawi and tafadul, then why give them nahi anyways? Is they saying, okay, it's haram to fly, it's haram to live under the water? Have you ever seen it in the book of fiqh? Because you can't survive underwater anyways. You have oxygen, well, not get all technical, the way if you have an area, you have oxygen provided, etc. I guess, you get what I'm trying to say? It's impermissible, for example, it's impermissible wherever, it's nahi, it's lagh. So therefore, when the Prophet said, do not sell ta'am, la tabi'u ta'am bi ta'am illa sawa'an bi sawa'in, that means that you can only have the nahi when it is possible to do tasawi and tafadul. Are you following? Why? Because of the same that I mentioned before. كَيْ لَا يُؤَدِّي إِلَى نَحْيِ الْعَاجِزِ. We mentioned before in نَحْيِ الْأَفْعَالِ الشَّرِعِيَّةِ that you have to be able to, it has to be possible to do it, that we can say it's not permissible. Now Now, this becomes a bit confusing. This is what I'm just quoting what Maulana Ruhani Bazi, Hafidhullah said. Rahimullah, I'm not sure if he's alive. If he's alive, Allah give him long life of Siha and Afiyah. Not Maulana Ruhani Bazi, Maulana Zuhair, his son, Maulana Ruhani Bazi's son, Maulana Zuhair, his video, his audio. He says that, don't question me on this, I'm just quoting him, yes? He says that the only type of bite, that the smallest measurement is a sa'. Sa' is smaller than mud, isn't it? Mud and a sa'. Mud is sa', I can't remember. I think mud is smaller, I think sa' is bigger. So he said the smallest measurement is a mud. The Arabs never had a measurement smaller than mud. And a hafna is what? It's smaller. So when you have a hafna bil hafna, then that's the lowest measurement. It's like you can't measure hafna. There's no ala to measure hafna. So because no ala to measure hafna, a handful. So therefore, how can you do tasawi in this? So if you say that do tasawi, don't do bay of do tasawi in what? Bayul hafna, how can you do that? How can you measure a handful of food? How will you be able to measure it? You following? Imam Shafi said because you have to do it sawa' bi sawa', and therefore you have to do hafna bi hafna. If you have handful, a handful. You're not able to sell 2 handfuls of rice, 1 handful of rice. Yes? We're saying here that what? That because what is less than ta'am, not rice, that's different. Sorry, ta'am. Not rice. The rice is going to be different. That's because that's makil. Let's say for example you have a hafna of food. That's not measurable. Because it's not measurable, therefore it can't be under the hukam. That's what he says. And that's it, full stop. That's what I understood from what he said. If he's wrong, if I quote him wrong, may Allah forgive me. That's what I understood. And as I said, this is what is explained here. فَمَا لَا يَدْخُلُ تَحْتَ الْمِعْيَارِ الْمُسَوِّي. What cannot enter, what is not included in a mi'yar, a criteria which can make it equal. It's not going to be in the hadith. Because he's talking about istawa. So basically, make it equal. But if hafna is not measurable, then it can't be equal. So therefore, it's not going to be under the topic of the hadith. This is what I understood. This was from his lecture. I didn't really get it properly from the shuruh. I think even on the sharh, I think when I got, they had the whole text, they didn't explain the whole text properly. Some of them did. That's the transition of it. Let's go ahead. أجا. ومن صور بيان التغيير ما إذا قال فلان علي ألف وديعة. Why is this بيان التغيير? Is it لفلان علي ألف? What does that mean? I owe him, isn't it? As what? As علي is ilzam. And the wadi'a is inda. So alayya by default it means what? I owe him as a qars. It's not a wadi'a, it's what? A duty upon me. And wadi'a changes it. Are you following? You get it? Remember we mentioned before. If you say inda, it means what by default? As bayan tafsir. What's inda? Amana. And alayya is daynan or thamanan. So when you change alifuna alayya alfun into wadi'a, what does that become now? Taghyir. So therefore it's not yasihu. It becomes yasihu mawsulan la mafsulan. فقوله علي يفيد الوجوب. And that means وهو بقوله وديعة وبقوله وديعة غيره إلى الحفظ. When you say علي وديعة, that changes it to what now? I have to do, I'm going to take care of it. So therefore, the same rules will apply here. وقوله أعطيتني أو أسلفتني ألفا. You gave me what? 100, or you gave me 1,000, or you lent me 1,000. فلم أقبضها. But I didn't take it. That's taghyir as well. Are you following? You get it? Because when you say أعطيتني, what does that normally mean? You give it to me and I took it. So you say فلم أقبضها is a taghyir. So again, you can't come one day later and say what? فلم أقبضها. I don't owe you to, because you offered me, you say, oh, you gave me £1 million. So what's that? It's iqrar, isn't it? I owe you £1 million. And he says, oh no, I didn't want iqrar. Next day he goes, oh, فلم أقبضها. That's also taghyir. Even though it's not like a taghyir in ta'liq or sifa or shart or istisna, but it is a form of taghyir. وكذلك لو قال لفلان علي ألف زيوف. I owe him 1,000. But he says zuyuf, which is not what you call a quote. Not what's it called? The dinar and dirham that are not fully proper. They kind of what do you call it? Money, that currency that's fake. Not fake, but it's got gold and silver, but it's got a lot of metal built in. It's got a lot of metal, more than 50% metal. So we say alayya lifulan alayya alfun. He says alfun, but then we say afterwards zuyufun. Because alfun by default means what? Proper. And by zuyufun you're saying, well, it's not 100% gold, it's only half gold. Or or less than half gold. So by default, it has to be more than, it has to be proper. Like 100% gold coins, or at least 95, 70% gold. By saying Zuyuf, it means less than 90, 100%, less than 50%, sorry. So now that would change it. Okay. وحكم بيان التغيير. In بيان التغيير, what's the ruling? يصح موصولا. When you say it immediately, you can't come and say it 1 year later. فهمت؟ ثم بعد هذا مسائل اختلف فيه علماء. There's other مسائل which ulama have differed under. Mean that what? Is it بيان التغيير? What's the اختلاف? Is it بيان التغيير? If it's بيان التغيير, فتصح بشرط الوصل. تغيير, when is تغيير permissible? When it's موصول. But if it's now تبديل, then it hasn't come yet تبديل. It's coming out later on. If it's تبديل, it's not permissible at all. So if it's تغيير, it's permissible موصولا. If it's تبديل, if it's تغيير موصول. If it's تبديل, not at all. Those will mention later on. So whoever says it's بيان التغيير, that صيغة is بيان التغيير, they will say, well, it's يصح موصولا لا مفصولا. And they'll say, no, it becomes تبديل, that's what? لا يصح موصولا ولا موصولا. وسيأتي طرف منها في بيان التبديل إن شاء الله. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك.